Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another theory test. Got Mark doing the chat.
Evening, everyone. Okay. D. Harris is first in, who says a good evening, Daniel and Mark. Evening, D.
Evening, D.
D says, and a good evening, Gillian. Got Mark's Hobbies in, who says good luck, Dano. Evening, Mark's Hobbies.
Evening, Mark.
Gillian's Dot says good evening, Dano and Mark. Evening, Gillian. Gillian's Dot says good evening, D. Gillian's Dot says good evening, Mark's Hobbies. And D. Harris says at Mark's Hobbies, good evening. And that's chat for now. Short and sweet.
Yep. Here we go.
He says, no, look at the ready, Mark, LOL. Yes.
Yeah.
What should you do if your vehicle catches fire while you're driving through a tunnel? Park it away from the carriageway. Pull up, then walk to an emergency telephone. Drive it out of the tunnel if it's safe to do so. Leave it where it is with the engine running.
Pull up, run, panic.
Pull up, then walk to an emergency telephone.
Yeah.
Park it away from the carriageway. Drive it out of the tunnel if it's safe to do so. Leave it where it is with the engine running.
Yeah.
What should you do before slowing down or stopping your vehicle? Sound the horn. Select a higher gear. Flash the headlights. Use the mirrors.
So,
What should you do before slowing down or stopping your vehicle?
we don't sound the horn. Like the high again. Check your mirrors.
Which vehicles are least likely to be affected by side wind? High-sided vehicles. Cyclists. Motorcyclists.
More like
Which vehicles are least likely to be affected by side wind?
Colin.
Why should you allow extra room while overtaking a motorcyclist on a windy day? The rider may turn off suddenly to get out of the wind. The rider may be blown in front of you. The rider may be traveling faster than normal. The rider may stop suddenly.
Right. Well, I think going faster than usual, no. Stop suddenly, well, you could, but you could do that on a normal day anyways. It's one of these two top ones. So
The rider may turn off suddenly to get out of the wind.
that sounds more plausible.
The rider may be blown in front of you.
Stupid. I think we'll go for the rather make turn out to get out the wind.
What's the legal minimum insurance cover you must have to drive on public roads? Third-party fire and theft. Personal injury cover. Comprehensive. Third party only.
I've only heard of third party. So I'm assuming third party fire theft. That's kind of obvious. Compo one, I think it's everything. I don't know what you. So I'm going to go for third party.
When should tyre pressures be checked? When tyres are cold. When tyres are hot. After any lengthy journey. After travelling at high speed.
When the tyres are cold.
What should you do if a tyre bursts while you're driving? Continue on at a normal speed. Brake as quickly as possible. Pull up slowly at the side of the road. Pull on the parking brake.
Pull up slowly.
The road is wet. Why would a motorcyclist steer around drain covers while they were cornering? To avoid puncturing the tyres on the edge of the drain covers. To avoid splashing pedestrians on the pavement. To help judge the bend using the drain covers as marker points. To prevent the motorcycle sliding on the metal drain covers.
Yep.
What does this temporary sign indicate? An advisory change of speed limit ahead. A mandatory speed limit change ahead. A variable speed limit ahead. The speed limit change at the end of the motorway. A mandatory speed limit change ahead. A variable speed limit ahead. An advisory change of speed limit ahead.
There's that one.
The speed limit change at the end of the motorway. What does it mean if the signs at a bus lane show no times of operation? The lane is only in operation in daylight hours. The lane is in operation 24 hours a day. The lane is only in operation at peak times. The lane isn't in operation.
Right. I think over. They're going to be in daylight hours or 24 hours, which I think which would mean that you can't go in during those times. But I'll go for 24 hours.
You're driving on a motorway at night. Which light should you have on if there are other vehicles just ahead of you? Front fog lights. Main beam headlights. Dipped headlights. Side lights only.
Right, so it's night. It doesn't say. No, so I'm just assuming it's a clear night. So there's no fog in the air, so you don't need your fog lights.
You're driving on a motorway at night. Which light should you have on if there are other vehicles just ahead of you?
So you're behind other vehicles. So you want to main beams, dip aside. Dip headlights. No.
What does it mean if you see this signal on the motorway? All vehicles use the hard shoulder. Stop. All lanes ahead closed. Leave the motorway at the next exit. Sharp bend to the left ahead.
Right.
All vehicles use the hard shoulder.
Not that one.
Stop. All lanes ahead closed.
No, because that would be an X.
Leave the motorway at the next exit. Sharp bend to the left ahead.
I think it's leave the motorway.
You wish to tow a trailer. Where would you find the maximum nose weight for your vehicle's tow hitch? In your license documents?
No.
In your vehicle registration certificate? In the vehicle handbook? In the highway code?
Vehicle handbook.
What does this road marking mean? You are approaching a hazard. No overtaking allowed. No stopping allowed. Do not cross the line.
I think it's no overtaking because you're coming up to a bend.
What should you do immediately after joining a motorway? Position your vehicle in the center lane. Stay in the left-hand lane. Readjust your mirrors. Try to overtake.
Right. So I don't think it's...
Position your vehicle in the center lane. Stay in the left-hand lane.
Position for the center lane.
What should you do when you're following a motorcyclist along a road that has a poor surface? Follow closely so they can see you in their mirrors. Allow the same room as normal to avoid wasting road space. Allow extra room in case they swerve to avoid potholes. Overtake immediately to avoid delays.
Give extra room.
Why would you fit chains to your wheels? To help prevent the brakes locking. To help prevent wear to the tires. To help prevent damage to the road surface. To help prevent skidding in deep snow.
Up with skidding.
What should you do if you want to overtake a tractor but aren't sure that it's safe? Speed past, flashing your lights at oncoming traffic. Follow another vehicle as it overtakes the tractor. Sound your horn to make the tractor driver pull over. Stay behind it if you're in any doubt.
Stay behind if you're in any doubt.
Which vehicle is most likely to take an unusual course at a roundabout? Estate car. Long vehicle. delivery van, milk float.
A long vehicle.
What does eco-safe driving achieve? Increased exhaust emissions, increased fuel consumption, damage to the environment, improved road safety, increased exhaust emissions.
Yeah.
When should you leave a 2-second gap between your vehicle and the one in front? When it's dry.
Yeah.
You're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? Check your tire pressures. Accelerate briskly. Test your brakes. Switch on your hazard warning lights.
Right. Well, I don't think you need to put your hazard on because you just went through a puddle.
Accelerate briskly. Check your tire pressures.
You don't need to check tire pressures.
Test your brakes. Accelerate briskly.
It's one of them two. Test the brakes or accelerate. Yeah. But then is it safe to do so?
Accelerate briskly.
Briskly.
You have to make an unexpected journey. You're carrying a 5-year-old child on the back seat of your car. They're under 1.35 meters, 4 feet 5 inches tall. How should you seat them if a correct child restraint isn't available? Behind the passenger seat. Using an adult seatbelt. Sharing a belt with an adult. Between 2 other children.
Using an adult seatbelt.
What must you do if your eyesight has become very poor and you're no longer able to meet the driver's eyesight requirements? Tell your doctor. Tell the driver licensing authority. Tell your optician. Tell the police.
No, tell the driving people.
Why do motorcyclists wear bright clothing? To make them more visible. They must do so by law. It helps keep them cool in summer. The colors are popular.
So they can be seen.
What should you do before making a U-turn? Look over your shoulder for a final check. Select a higher gear than normal. Check road markings to see that U-turns are permitted. Give an arm signal as well as using your indicators.
So checking if you're allowed. I'm sure assuming that you're on the road that you can do U-turns. You've already done that.
Select a higher gear than normal.
No.
Give an arm signal as well as using your indicators.
You only do that.
Look over your shoulder for a final check.
I think just look over here.
You're behind this cyclist. When the traffic lights change, what should you do? Try to move off before the cyclist.
No.
Turn right, but give the cyclist room. Allow the cyclist time and room. Tap your horn and drive through first.
Allow a cyclist time and room.
What can be damaged if you turn the steering wheel when the car isn't moving? The brakes, the engine, the tyres, the gearbox.
Don't think it'd be the brakes or the tyres. The engine block, the gearbox. There's tin. The engine.
When may you stop and wait in a box junction? When oncoming traffic prevents you from turning right. When you're in a queue of traffic turning left. When you're on a roundabout. When you're in a queue of traffic going ahead.
So you can only stop if you're turning the oncoming traffic because they've got right to go. So if you're turning right, I think, yeah.
When oncoming traffic prevents you from turning right.
Yeah.
How do smart motorways prevent traffic bunching? By using higher speed limits. By using advisory speed limits. By using variable speed limits. By using minimum speed limits.
By using a higher speed.
Why is it particularly important to check your vehicle before making a long motorway journey? Motorway services areas don't deal with breakdowns. The road surface will wear down the tyres faster. Continuous high speeds increase the risk of your vehicle breaking down. You'll have to do more harsh braking on motorways.
Could be any of them.
Continuous high speeds increase the risk of your vehicle breaking down. Motorway services areas don't deal with breakdowns. The road surface will wear down the tyres faster. You'll have to do more harsh braking on motorways.
No idea.
You're driving towards this level crossing. What would be the first warning of an approaching train? 1/2 barrier down. Twin flashing red lights. A steady amber light. Both half barriers down.
The red lights start flashing.
Which sign means there's a double bend ahead?
D.
What must you do if poor health affects your driving? Inform the licensing authority. Avoid using motorways. Inform your local police. Always drive accompanied.
Inform the driving place.
Your car breaks down on a level crossing. What's the first thing you should do? Leave your vehicle and get everyone clear. Walk down the track and signal the next train. Stay in your car until you're told to move. Tell drivers behind what's happened.
Leave the vehicle and get everybody clear.
What must you have when you apply to renew your vehicle tax? The vehicle's chassis number, valid insurance, a valid driving license, the handbook.
Valid insurance.
You're driving in busy traffic. You want to pull up just after a junction on the left. When should you signal? You're driving in busy traffic. You want to pull up just after a junction on the left. When should you signal? Just before you reach the junction. As you're passing or just after the junction. It would be better not to signal at all. Well before you reach the junction.
Just before. Hold on. You want to put after the junction, so if it's before the junction, I'm going to be confused.
As you're passing or just after the junction.
Yeah, as you're passing the junction.
What does it mean if your vehicle keeps bouncing after you sharply press down and release on the bodywork over a wheel? The tires are worn. The tires are underinflated. The shock absorbers are worn. The vehicle is on soft ground.
So I think it's either inflated tires or shock absorbers. I think inflated tires.
What should you do when you park at night on a road that has a 40 miles per hour speed limit? Park facing the traffic. Leave dipped headlights switched on. Leave parking lights switched on. Park near a street light. Park facing the traffic.
Yeah, I could help. But at night, you wouldn't be seen by other cars, so they don't crash into you when you parked up. You may be able to park under a street light.
Leave dipped headlights switched on.
Yeah.
You're driving a vehicle that has anti-lock brakes. How should you apply the foot brake when you need to stop in an emergency? Rapidly and firmly. Rapidly and gently. Slowly but firmly. Slowly and gently.
Slowly and firmly.
What does this sign mean? Turn off at the next available junction. Approaching traffic passes you on both sides. Pass either side to get to the same destination. Give way to oncoming vehicles.
No, I think it's
Approaching traffic passes you on both sides. What does this sign mean? End of restricted speed area. End of cycle route. End of clearway. End of restricted parking area.
end of speed limit.
Why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into a side road? They may be overtaking on your left. They may be emerging from the side road. They may be following you closely. They may be overtaking on your right. They may be emerging from the side road. Why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into a side road?
Then maybe overtaken on your left.
What does this sign mean? Traffic calming hump. Low bridge. Hump bridge. Uneven road.
It's not traffic calming humps or no.
What must you do if your ability to drive is impaired during a period of illness? See your doctor each time before you drive. Stop driving until you're fit to drive again. Take all your medicines with you when you drive. Take smaller doses of any medicines.
Stop driving until you're fit to do so.
Whilst driving on a section of motorway, you see a sign indicating that there are traffic works ahead in 1 mile. You consider leaving the motorway but decide to stay on. A little further ahead, you see signs warning that lane 3 is closed. Traffic begins to merge to the left. Traffic is directed onto the hard shoulder, and traffic from the opposite carriageway is directed to use lane 3 on your side of the central reservation, creating a contraflow situation. Cars are now travelling within a few feet of one another, separated only by a line of cones at considerable closing speed.
What should you do when you're approaching roadworks on a motorway? Always use the hard shoulder. Stay very close to the vehicle in front. Speed up to clear the area quickly. Obey the speed limit.
Obey the speed limit.
You're in the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway. What do these overhead signs mean? Move to the left and reduce your speed to 50 miles per hour. Leave the motorway at the next exit. Use the hard shoulder until you've passed the hazard. There are roadworks 50 meters, 55 yards ahead.
Move to the left and reduce your speed.
What does this sign mean? Right-hand lane for turning right. The right-hand lane is closed. Right-hand lane for buses only. The right-hand lane ahead is narrow.
Right-hand lane is closed.
What would you expect to find at a contraflow system on a motorway? Temporary traffic lights, lower speed limits, road humps, wider lanes than normal.
Lower speed.
What should you do when you're using a contraflow system? Follow other motorists closely to avoid long queues. Choose an appropriate lane in good time. Increase speed to get through the contraflow more quickly. Switch lanes to make better progress. Choose an appropriate lane in good time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go end test. Okay. When we hit the late 30s, nearly 40s, we did have a string of them. So,
Yeah.
number 1, what should you do if your vehicle catches fire while you're driving through a tunnel? Drive out of it if you can do. It's more dangerous for a car to be on fire in a tunnel than it is out of a tunnel. But that's not one you've ever come across before.
No, I'm just because I'm thinking in a tunnel. Yes, I can
Yeah.
see, but I'm thinking, well, get to the phone.
Yeah, and I get your logic of thinking, but
Yeah.
if you can drive it out, drive it out. Number 4, Why should you allow extra room while overtaking motorcyclists on a windy day? Now, you put the rider may turn off suddenly to get out of the wind. Well, just one question. Do you ever know where the wind is coming from?
No.
Because it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't expect a motorcyclist to move out the way of wind because he doesn't know where it's coming from. So the rider might be blown out in front of you. So 14. What does this road marking mean? No overtaking would be a solid white line. You got it right with there's a corner up ahead, but that's telling you there's a hazard up ahead, which is the corner.
Yeah.
So that's what they mean. 15. What should you do immediately after joining a motorway? What's the rules? Stay in the left lane. The right lanes are for overtaking only.
Yeah.
Stay in the left lane. Okay. 20. Yeah, that's what I've got written down. What does eco-safe driving achieve? Improve road safety. You went for increased exhaust emissions on eco-safe driving.
Yeah.
It's improved road safety.
Got confused with that.
Yeah, 22. Okay, you're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? So, I'm going to show you what a Ford looks like.
Yeah.
What's getting wet while you're driving through that?
Your wheels, and then where the wheels are is your brakes.
Yeah. So what's not going to be safe after driving through that?
Yeah. Your brakes.
So how do I put that back on? I think you need to do it. Add to put your thing back on. Share.
Yeah, I'm already shared, I think.
It's not come up on mine.
Oh.
Hang on. Let me do that. And let me do that. Ah, there we go. Oh, no, it's back on now. Yeah. Right. Okay. So test your brakes.
Yeah. That's
what a Ford is. Okay, so the next one is 28. What can be damaged if you turn the steering wheel while the car isn't moving? Now, you put the engine. Well, the engine is not going to be on.
No.
The gearbox is not attached to the front wheels. The brakes, not going to happen. But if you think about it, if you get an eraser or rubber and you're rubbing out pencil, what happens to that rubber?
It gets shorter, gets smaller and smaller.
So what happens is if you move the steering while the car's not moving, it's going to wear your tyres down and you'll get what you call flat spots.
Yeah.
And that's what will damage. Okay, 30.
I was thinking, like, do you know, come look at, like, I'm trying to thingy and going, oh, well, you've got the stick where your wheel is. That's attached. And I'm going, well, and I'm thinking, well, that's going to snap. So it must be attached to the engine.
Not necessarily, because you can still drive a car without power steering.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you can. Okay, so next one is 30. How do smart motorways prevent traffic building? And basically they use it by using variable speed limits. So 1 minute you could be in a 70 zone, next minute you could be in a 60 zone. So they change the speed limits of the motorway to make sure that traffic flows properly through them.
Yeah.
31. Why is it particularly important to check your vehicle before making a long journey? Well, if you're on a motorway or you're going to be making a long journey, which is going to be 6 hours, the thing that's going to be under most strain on that vehicle is going to be the engine.
Yeah.
So it could possibly overheat or it could run low down on oil. So it's always important to check your oil, check your coolant, check your windscreen washer, check your tyre pressures but make sure that your engine's in good order before making a long journey.
Yep.
Okay, 32. Okay, you're approaching towards this level crossing. What should be the first warning of approach a train? Should be a steady amber light, which means it's warning you that the barriers can change. But I can see you thinking with the two flashing red lights.
Yeah.
The two flashing red lights would be when the barriers are coming down and also when it's not in operation, so you can't drive through it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where we hit a bit of a run of it. So 39 is what does it mean if your vehicle's bouncy after you sharp press down and release on the bodywork over a wheel? Shock absorbers. It means they've gone. There's too much bounce to them. They should be nice and stiff. So, not the tyres are underinflated. That's why people used to kick tyres.
Yeah.
To check them. Okay, 39. What should you do when you park at night on a road that has a 40-mile speed limit? Leave parking light switched on, which basically they don't use a lot of your battery, so it won't run your battery down. If you leave dipped headlights on, it will run your battery down and you won't be able to start your car after a certain amount of time.
I knew that it was something to do with me lights.
Yeah.
I was just unsure which one to go for.
Okay. 40. You're driving a vehicle that has anti-lock brakes. How should you apply the foot brake when you need to stop in emergency? If you need to stop in an emergency, would you go for your foot brake nice and slowly?
No.
Or would you go for it very quickly and press it firmly so you stop quicker?
You want to slam it on?
Yes. So rapidly and firmly.
Yeah.
Okay. 41.
I think I misread that one.
What does this sign mean? Right, so you put approaching traffic, passes you on both sides. Well, wouldn't that be a hazard sign?
Yeah.
And hazard signs are shaped?
Triangle.
Right. So a blue sign is telling you something, telling you to do something, which means path either side to get to the same destination.
Yeah.
So it's telling you can pass either side and it'll get you to the same place. Okay, 42. What does this sign mean? It's basically the end of restricted parking area where there'd be no stopping allowed.
Yeah.
43. What should you check? Why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into a side road? Well, if you're turning right, your hazard is going to be your right-hand side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not your left-hand side, because your left you're not turning into. So they may be overtaking you from your right. Okay, and 44. What does this sign mean? If it was a low bridge, it would actually tell you the height of the bridge if it was low. You know, when you've seen pictures of lorries going under bridges and the lorries have been too high and they've stuck under the bridge. Well, if you notice, that bridge always has a sign, and that is telling vehicles that are high how low that bridge is. What's the maximum height that can drive through it? So it's actually, that sign is for a hump bridge.
I think I got confused. I went, oh, it's not a hump, like a traffic hump with like a speed bump.
It looks like a bridge.
Yeah. That's
and
what
it's got a hump in it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a hump bridge. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'll just you sort out.
Yep.
Okay, so Mark's Hobby says hi, Dano. Mark's Hobby says hi, Mark. Mark's Hobby says hi, Gillian. Mark's Hobby says hi, Dee. Dee says, question 4, best description of this question yet, though it's been repeated a few times, which they normally are.
Yeah.
Gillian Stott said you did well. D says, nice effort, young man. Most of them you were hovering over the right answer, but selected another. Go with your gut more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then D says, through a Ford, debris can get inside the brakes, especially the drum with drum brakes on rear, but most cars now are on disc brakes. So yeah, when you're going through, you're not just going through a puddle, you're going through a body of water. You're basically going through a stream.
Yeah.
That they can't divert the road around. And it used to be, you think about it, when you had like a horse and carriage, well, it was pretty easy to go through Fords like that because the only thing getting wet would be the horse and the wheels of the carriage.
Yeah.
But modern cars now is we drive through them and that's what's going to get wet. So it's going to be your brakes. So there we go. Well done. So next live stream tomorrow, 8 p.m. is MCC UK.
Yeah. And then I'll do another one of these next week because I'm off again for a week. So
right.
Work out what day is best.
Yeah, I need to find out because our youngest has got a parents' evening, even though he's 19.
Yeah.
That we're going to go to. So I don't know when that's going to be.
Right.
Okay, so I'll let you know once I know.
Yep.
Okay, no problem. Right, well, it's a good night from me. Well done tonight, Dano. Go get some rest.
Yeah.
After your long shift at work. And yeah, I'll catch everybody tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the MCC UK.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll let you know when I'm next home with this. So just keep an eye out. So until then, night all. Bye.
Bye.